Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Radha Damodara Rasa Damodara Shri Rajesh Radha Damodara Shri Lalita Vishaka Lalita Vishaka Shri Radhe Jayonikai Burasundanikai Burasunda Gora Jayonitai Burasundanitai Burasunda Gora Nitai Burasunda Gora Ayo Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Gurudev 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 Haribo 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 Go Nitango Haribo 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 Go Haribo 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 Go Haribo Jai Om Vishnu Ka Paramahamsa Parivraj Gacchāya Stutu Tarasva Srimad. His Divine Grace of Excellence Vringi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Jagat Guru Param Guru Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Naravatmana Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavi ki jai. Shri Namachaya Brahmachaya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se keo Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gauravata Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodara Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kunji Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mathura Dham ki jai. Navadev Dham ki jai. Ayodhya Dham ki jai. Nilachala Jaganapuri Dham ki jai. Shridham Mayapur Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Yugdam Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Iskon Gita Nagari Dham ki jai. Samavida Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gora Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you very much for all of you being here. Today's reading is taken from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 8, text number 27. Dhammaya mano nija vriya sankitam yat dashta mukto nirihani rim mahashuraha nastam asajata kadya karmani pregrihya vigina gata shamo mride maya mano nija vriya sankitam yat dasya mukto nriharim mahashura nastam asajata kadya karmani pragrihya vigina gata shamo mridye. Anybody chant?
Tammam yamano nija virya shankitam yadashtamukto nirharim mahasuraha punastamasajata kadga charmani pragrihya vegena gata shramo mridhe.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Word to word translation. Tam him, Lord Nishimadev. Mayamanaha, thinking. Nijavriya Sankitan. Nijavriya Sankitanam. Sankitam. afraid of his prowess, yet because Hasta Muktaha, freed from the clutches of the Lord, Nriharim, Lord Nishmadev, Maha Asuraha, the great demon, Puna, again, Tam, him, Asajata, attacked, that Gatamani, his sword and shield, Ragrihya, taken up, Vigina, with great force, Gatashrama, his fatigue having gone, Mride, in the battle. Translation and purport by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. When Hiranyakashipu was freed from the hands of Nrsimhadev, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. Purport. When a sinful man enjoys material facilities, foolish people sometimes think, how is it that this sinful man is enjoying whereas a pious man is suffering? By the will of the Supreme, a sinful man is sometimes given the chance to enjoy the material world as if he were not under the clutches of material nature, just so that he may be fooled. A sinful man who acts against the laws of nature must be punished, but sometimes he is given a chance to play, exactly like Hiranyakashipu when he was released from the hands of Nrsimhadev. Hiranyakashipu was destined to be ultimately killed by Nrsimhadev, but just to see the fun, the Lord gave him a chance to slip from his hands. Om Gyana Timiranda Shya Gyana Jana Salakaya Chakshu Omlitam Yena Tasman Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapita Mina Bhutali Swayam Bhakadamaya Dadati Swapadanti Kam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapati Gopisha Gopika Kantarada Kantana Mostite Vanjaka Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Ivacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namanabupa Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Teta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shitatmani Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Bhakti Teta Namini Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gora Vani Pracharini Nevashesha Sunya Vadi Pashati Adi Satarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Gora Vatavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Tamanya Mano Nija Vidya Sankita Yat Dashta Mukto Nreharim Mahasuraha Punas Tam Asajata Pada Chamani Ragrihya Vigina Gata Shamo Mridehi. When Hiranyakashipu was freed from the hands of Nrsimhadev, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. Again, thank you very much for all of you being here. We read from the purport how Srila Prabhupada is explaining that sometimes somebody who is fully engrossed in material enjoyment, a sinful person who begins to enjoy tremendously, materially. Prabhupada explains that sometimes some foolish people think, why? Why is this sinful person enjoying like this? Meanwhile, there is some pious people who are suffering. Why? Why is it like that? So Prabhupada goes further to explain that uh, by the will of the Supreme, a sinful man is sometimes given the chance to enjoy the material world as if he were not under the clutches of man. In other words, sometimes we are given opportunity to enjoy, and immediately the condition so is such that immediately he begins to have some little bit enjoyment in the material world. Then he forgets completely that that is not his real position. He completely forgets that he is subordinate to somebody. He immediately begins to think that, oh, now I have everything under control. I have everything under control. But that is just a relief. It's like you being underwater. You fall into the river. Like if you're on the high seas, somehow or the other you fall into the sea. And you're struggling to swim. And so by just struggling like this, sometimes you come up out of the water for a little bit and immediately you grab some air. Sometimes you foolishly think, oh yeah, now I think I'm making it. And by the time you realize, you are deep again inside. So the material world is like that. Sometimes we get a little bit of relief. And once that relief comes, then we are thinking, oh yeah, now everything is okay. I'm okay now. Everything is okay. But by the time you realize, you are back deep into suffering. So Prabhupada goes further to explain. He says, just so he may be fooled, a sinful man who acts against the laws of nature must be punished. That is the law of nature. If you sin, you must be punished. But sometimes he's given a chance to play, exactly like Hiranyakashipu when he was released from the hands of Nishimadev. Hiranyakashipu was destined to be ultimately killed by Nishingadev. But just to see the fun, the Lord gave him a chance to slip from his hands. In other words, when Nishingadev appeared and Hiranyakashipu started fighting him, he grabs Nishingadev. And Nishingadev saw the iron grip of the Lord. Then all of a sudden, the Lord released him. And instead of him thinking that, oh, the Lord has given me some little mercy, so I should take this opportunity to surrender. No. What did he think? The demonic mentality. Immediately the Lord released him a little bit. He's thinking, wow, now by my prowess, I've gotten free. Oh, this guy is afraid of me. The Shingadev is afraid of me. So now I'm going to attack again with full force. We see that happening to us every day in this world. Anytime we get a little relief from material nature, what happens? Whenever, like sometimes we are suffering, things are not going well for us. That is when sometimes we begin to think, oh God, what is going on? Please help me. Then immediately we get a little bit relief. Like things change out of the blue. And we start experiencing a little bit opulence, a little bit happiness. Then we completely forget. We completely forget that some days ago or some minutes ago, we were begging to be relieved from this suffering. So once we get that little bit of relief in that split time, instead of taking advantage and learn how to surrender to the Lord so that the happiness can continue, so that we can make better use of our life. No, we don't think like that, because once we are engrossed in material, in the pool of material absorption, then anytime we have such little bit relief, we begin to think that, oh yeah, by my effort now I've been able to put things in the right place. So I think from going forward, things are going to be very nice. It will never be nice. Our mentality is like the desert. When we are fully absorbed in material thinking, our way of thinking is like being the desert. Anytime there is some little bit of sprinkle of water on the desert, the desert begins to think, oh, I'm okay. Now the heat is going to subside. But for how long would that little bit of water sustain the desert? Just a little bit time. In very short time, the whole water is evaporated and the desert becomes dry again. So living entities, we are so unfortunate. But somehow or the other, when the Lord makes something available to us, instead of us taking advantage of surrendering to the Lord, no, we rather begin to think making a lot of big plans. Every day we try to make big plans for ourselves. Oh, tomorrow I'll go to the bank, I have little money, I'll save it, and then when I save it, then you calculate. In 6 months' time, there will be such and such dividends added to the amount. Meanwhile, whilst we are making that elaborate plan, material nature is also thinking that, oh, maybe tomorrow I'm going to kill this person, I'm going to take this person away. Even though you are making such elaborate plans for tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year, but whilst you are making that elaborate plan, material nature is also thinking, tomorrow I'm going to take this person away. I'm going to take the body. So what is the use of all that plans? You have no use for it. There is a biblical verse. There is a biblical verse, Matthew chapter 12. I think the verse is from verse 43, verse 43 to 45. In that verse, it is stated that when someone is possessed by some evil spirit, and that evil spirit gets out of the body, it is up to the person to make sure that he fills that empty space properly. Other than that, that evil spirit will go and roam and roam and roam. And when it doesn't have any shelter anywhere, the evil spirit will decide to come back and look. Oh, where I left, the person I was occupying his body. What is happening to the body now? When he comes and he sees that, oh, that place is empty, nicely clean for me, then this time he will not come alone. What does he do? He goes and calls 7 more spirits who are even more powerful than him. And then he will come and they will come and abode. They will come into you. And your previous situation will be better than the new situation that you come in. So that is why it is very important that at any given moment, we should take advantage of the opportunities that we have been given. In actuality, in this world, whatever comes our way, It's an opportunity that has been given us to what? To make some progress. So we should look at the advantage that has been given us and make good use of it. Other than that, we will keep going back. We will take one step forward, and if we are not very careful, by the time we realize, we take 10 steps back. So it's up to us to make good use of any opportunity that has come our way. And that is why once you get involved with practicing bhakti, we should take good advantage of the situation that has been offered us. And so when we are asked to follow some principles, we follow the principle. When we are asked to chant the holy names of the Lord, we chant the holy names of the Lord. We make good use of the opportunity that has been offered us. Other than that, we will keep going back and forth, back and forth. And the unfortunate thing is, most of the time we make one step, we take one step forward, and by the time we realize, we take 10 steps backwards. So eventually, instead of making progress, we retrogress. But that shouldn't be the case. Human life is not meant to retrogress. Human life is meant to what? To make progress, to advance. And human life is also not like candle. You see, when you light a candle, what happens? With time, the wax will what? Would melt and diminish. That is not human life. And so once we begin to practice bhakti, bhakti shouldn't diminish. It shouldn't be like a candle that keeps dwindling. No, it should always what? Advance. It should always progress, move forward. We don't have to be stagnant. We don't have to be stagnant, neither do we have to dwindle. We don't have to stay where we are, neither do we have to go down. We must always what? Go forward, up and up and up, until eventually we are able to reach the ultimate goal of life, which is what? Pure devotional service to the Lord. That is the nature of human life. Otherwise, if we are not lucky, we begin to behave like the animals. You see the goat. If the goat, you have some corn. If you have some corn packed somewhere, then the goat will gradually sneak to come and start eating the corn. And when you see the goat and you hit it with a stick, temporarily the goat will run away. But by the time you realize, it comes back. That is animal life. Temporarily you run away, and then when you look left and right and you think, oh, everything is okay, then you come back, only to be hit again by another stick. And if the goat is not careful, maybe the second hit might be even heavier than the first hit. So why should human life be like that? We shouldn't be like the goat. Once we get hit, we should learn our lesson and not go back there. But our whole being is made in such a way that we are always thinking to go back and be hit again and again and again. And that's why for all these millennia of years, we have been going into the cycle of what? Repeated birth and death. It's up to us to break that cycle. And the only way to break that cycle is to what? Is to learn how to make proper use of every single opportunity that has been offered us. In our everyday life, whatever comes in front of us is an opportunity. If we don't make our mindset properly, then we will never see the opportunity that has been offered us. Most of the time, we will think this is a stumbling block. We will think this is something that is supposed to bring us down. No, God is not that wicked. Every opportunity that God gives us is for our own good. He gives us that opportunity to make progress. It becomes like a small hurdle that we jump, then we make progress. We go to the next stage. We jump, we go to the next stage. Like that. It's like when you are running hurdles, the 100 meters or 400 meters hurdles. How do you make progress? If you run, when you come to the hurdle and you don't jump, you don't make progress. So you run and you come to the hurdle, you jump. You run again, you come to the next hurdle, you jump. So that is how nature is, material world. There are a lot of hurdles in front of us, but those hurdles are not supposed to what? To retrogress us, to block us, to make us stagnant. No, the hurdles are there so that anytime we jump one hurdle, we make a headway, we make progress. That is the nature of this world. And so that is the reason why we always have to take advantage of the hurdles that come our way so that we can make what? We can make progress. Otherwise, we'll be like Hiranyakashipu. Because Nishingadev released him a little bit. First, Nishingadev grabs him. And he saw the grip of Nishingadev was like ironclad, very tight. He couldn't even move himself. But immediately Nishingadev released him a little bit. He said, "Oh, by my power, I get myself released. Now I'm going to attack for the second time." That is a deep conditioned mentality. When we are deeply conditioned, that is how we always think. Anytime we get a little bit of relief, then we're thinking, oh, yeah, now I'm gradually making it. Things are getting well for me. And instead of learning how to actually take advantage of the opportunity that has been given us and make progress, no, we rather what? Submit ourselves to the negative thinking, which will retrogress us. And our whole life becomes very like animalistic. We don't even live like a human. All right. I'll end here and then open the floor. If there are any questions or comments, please just let us know. You can raise your hand, or you can, those of you on the Zoom, you can just unmute yourself and ask your question. Or if you have any comment to give, you can give some comments, some corrections. It's also accepted. Hare Krishna. So like we said, this world is designed for our own advantage. We've already made the mistake. The mistake has brought us here. But the Lord is so merciful. He said, okay, no problem. You've made the mistake. But I'm still here for you. I'll help you. Come out of your mistake. So he brings us different scenarios for us to what? Use the scenario to rectify our situation. And that's why it's very necessary that we take advantage of every scenario that comes our way to make good use of it. Yeah,
That's a good point you were making about when you're explaining that.
This one.
You're explaining that you run that's the setting and you release the grip of his own power and his own release the total. And you were conditioned thinking about participate we overcome the struggle for that by our power, which is easier than that. We're making it true.
Mhm.
So how do we, see it properly?
Yeah. There is a question here from Jagnapali Prabhu, and the question is that, just as Hiranyakashipu was thinking that it was by his own prowess that he was able to release himself from the grip of Nishingadev. Similarly, in this world, sometimes things happen to us, and immediately we get a little bit relief. We are thinking, by our own arrangement, by our own, smart thinking, we are able to get ourselves off this grid. So his question is, how can we actually help ourselves to understand that it is not by our own prowess that we are able to get some relief from the pangs of material nature? How can we actually come to the understanding that it's not by our own power, but by the mercy of the Lord? Yeah, as long as we are in this world, and that is why we are being taught. We are being taught that everything that happens here is by the mercy of the Lord, not by our own doing. If it's by your own doing, then think, for instance, who in this world wants to go into distress? Nobody wants to problems. So the fact that we don't want problems, does that mean there will be no problem in our life? So just by knowing that, even though you are not praying for problems, nobody specially prays for problems, maybe apart from Queen Kunti. Nobody prays for problems. Anytime anybody is praying, he prays for what? Prosperity. He prays for relief. But despite that we are praying for prosperity, despite that we are praying for relief, to be happy, yet unhappiness comes, distress comes. So why shouldn't we be able to understand that even though we are not praying for happiness, we are not praying for distress, but the distress comes anyway? So similarly, if even you don't pray for happiness, when it's time for happiness to come, the happiness will come. This is the arrangement of material nature. Do you ever sit down and pray for winter to come? Nobody prays for winter to come. Nobody prays for any bad thing to come. But whether you like it or not, as long as you are in this world, you are here. Whether you like it or not, winter will come. Spring will come. Summer will come. And then what? Fall will also come. It is already arranged by material nature. So similarly, happiness and distress, whether we like it or not, material nature has already arranged it. As long as you live in the material world, happiness will come, distress will come. But whichever thing that comes your way, you see it as an opportunity that has been offered you. Actually, the way we mold the whole process of spiritual life is trying to learn how to understand that our whole life is full of the mercy of the Lord. If you don't absorb that training properly, then your way of thinking becomes wayward. We should train our mind. We should train our consciousness to come to the level to understand that everything, single thing that is happening to us in this world is by the mercy of the Lord. The Lord has specially given us that situation for us to learn a lesson from it. But if we don't take advantage of the lesson that has been given us, then we end up what? Blaming the Lord. I was reading something a couple of days ago. This guy who was in a ship, and there was a shipwreck, and everybody in the ship died except this one guy. The waves pushed him to the shore, but where he was, the wave took him to was some thick forest. He didn't know what to do. So this guy started praying to the Lord that, dear Lord, please save me. Let someone see me and save me. He prayed and prayed and prayed. Nothing was happening. Eventually, this guy thought, oh, now that the Lord is not helping me, maybe I should find a way myself. So first, he went into the forest, looked for some sticks and some palm fronds, and he built a little bit hut. He built a small hut where he can sleep at least, so that he will not be too cold, right? So after he built the hut, he decided to go to the forest and look for some fruits so that he can survive. And immediately he went into the bush to look for these fruits. Something happened. There was a lightning, and the lightning struck the small hut that he has built, and it caught fire. The small hut was in flames. So this guy returned, and what is this? Does even God exist? I've been praying ever since I got stuck in this island. I've been praying for him to save me. He never respond to my prayers. Now, by my effort, I've built this small hut for safety. And now, look, the lightning strikes this hut and burns it. Immediately, he began to lose faith in God completely. Then, out of the blue, the guy saw a ship coming. So the ship came. Some people, they lowered some boat, and some people came and they said, hey, we saw your sign of distress, and we are coming for you. And the guy said, I didn't send any sign of distress. And they said, what do you mean? The distress fire, distress sign. We saw the smoke, and we knew somebody was in trouble here, and that's why we came. And that immediately the guy realized, that is where it dawned on him that the heart that he has built, struggled to build, and lightning struck it, and it was in flames. That was the sign that the people in the ship saw. They saw the flames and the smoke. And that is what attracted them. They knew immediately somebody is in distress, and they came. So the very thing that the guy was thinking that God has done, which is showing that God actually doesn't even exist, because the little effort he has put in, God has destroyed it. That very destruction was his savior. So that is the nature of this world. There is nothing. God is not wicked. God is a loving God. So everything he brings to our life is an opportunity, but we have to see it. We have to be trained. Our consciousness has to be trained. Our mind has to train to be able to see the good of the situation that has been offered us. Otherwise, we can never see any good in anything that happens. We will only see the negative aspect. And as long as we see the negative aspect of things, we will never make progress in life. We will either retrogress or we remain stagnant. But humans, we are not supposed to remain stagnant. Neither are we supposed to what? To retrogress. We are always supposed to what? Make advancement. towards the goal of life. So the question you ask, every situation that has been, so we should just see that positive aspect, like a lot of what do we call it? People who do mediation, they usually use that technique. They fill the cup halfway with water, and then they ask people that, how do you describe this cup? Some people will describe the cup as being half empty. Others will describe it as being half full. Those who describe the cup as being half empty, they are very pessimistic. They don't see any hope. They don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. But those who describe it as half full, they always see a light, a small light at the end of the tunnel, because they know there is hope. They are very optimistic. And that is the nature, that is how we have to be thinking. Always trying to envision that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That God has provided that light for us to work towards. Do I make some sense? Thank you. Any other question? If you have some question, you can ask. All right. If you have some contribution too, you can ask. If you have some ideas, we are all learning. So okay, what about those of us online? Any questions or any contributions? We have powerful people here today. Ajamel is here. Lila Kishore, Mata, we want to hear from you. Give us some ideas. Oh, Dina Palika is here. Yashodev, Balaram Baba, Agari Krishna is also here. Taraka Prabhu, all of you, we are waiting for you to give some comments or some questions. Okay, Jagnapani Prabhu, yeah.
That's already the souls of that. You already has things in the means that are Christian. He didn't recognize the the actual benefit of the situation happens to him. I was trying to keep Christian. Yeah, it's interesting. And the strap was saying that often we are in the hands of Christian. I mean, we're always in the hands of Christian. And as soon as it's in our lives, also we're part of the extension of the hand of Christian. Even black. And so, even though we experience things through these senses, and we have emotions and all these kinds of things that we experience, there's an opportunity to see, like through the eyes of the Punja, you know, Krishna is here, you know, and this is where he is manifesting and helping me, teaching me in some way. And this is first. So yeah, I'm just reflecting that. You know, there is the challenge. There is the test. You know, when we find ourselves not seeing Krishna's direction. You know, because he's there. So then that's just time.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for that analysis and the question. Actually, it's like a comment. Yeah, I mean, that is the unfortunate thing in this world. It's like someone tells you, someone says, have you seen God before? I think one time somebody asked Prabhupada that no one can see God. And Prabhupada said, why are you concluding like that? Because you have not seen God, you are concluding that no one can see God. So mostly that is our way of thinking, right? There are a lot of things because we are not seeing it, we say it doesn't even exist. that is foolish consciousness. That is a second class human being. A first class human being, he learns by hearing. Because if the first class human being hears that stealing is not good, just by hearing, he will not steal. A second class human being, he will hear, but he will not learn any lesson unless he sees that a thief has been caught and is being beaten. Then you say, oh my God, seeing is believing. Huh? The material world, especially in Kali Yuga, a lot of people are that. They want to see before they believe. And that is why in Matthew chapter 12, verse 38, some Pharisees and some people went to Jesus and they said, Master, show us a sign so that we can believe. And Jesus said, you men of this adulterous age, you men of this adulterous age, your hearts are full of sin. Unless he sees signs, he will not believe. I have no sign to show you, but the ultimate sign of Jonah. As Jonah spent 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the earth, in the belly of the whale, so am I going to spend 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the earth. So even that sign that was performed by Jesus was performed by the foolish, was performed to convince the foolish. Those who hearts are full of sin, that they have to see a miracle before they believe. So similarly, most of us in this world, we always want to see something, a sign. But I mean, take something as simple as germs. Aren't we always hearing that when the place is dirty, even this floor that looks to be clean, if you, you rub the floor with your hands, what does science say? It says there's germs all over the place, right? But when you look, do you see any germs? So the fact that you are not seeing the germs, does it conclude that there are no germs here? That is foolish thinking. And so, if because you are not seeing the germs, you decide to put your food on the floor, on this floor, and then eat it from the floor, that is stupidness. And so that's why it is very important to hear from authority, like the scientist who has proven that there is germs here, even though you are not seeing the germs. But if you doubt it, then you ask for the means by which you can see the germs, right? And what is the means? You ask him, okay, can you help me get a what? A microscope. And immediately you are given the microscope. You look through it and immediately you will see on the floor a lot of germs moving. Is that not it? So if you don't believe the existence of God because you have not seen, there is a microscope to see. And what is that microscope? Matthew chapter 5 verse 8. He says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And in the Vedic literature, how do we see God? We see God through the eyes of the scripture. We see God through the eyes of the guru. Because the pure devotee of the Lord, because he's seeing God, he tells you, God, this is God. All right? So humans, we must go beyond. We must go beyond our sinful way of thinking. Other than that, we will never see any opportunity that has been offered us. So, like you said, God is available to us everywhere. We always talking about seeing miracle. What miracle is greater than when you put food in your mouth? You wake up in the morning, you put food in your mouth, and the food goes into your stomach, right? What happens to the food when it goes to your stomach? There is digestion in your stomach. And the same body will make sure that it extracts the good ones and put it in your blood. And the bad ones, what does it do with it? It rejects it. And it comes through another passage as feces. Do you know exactly what happens in your stomach when the food goes there? You don't know the mechanism. Somebody has made that mechanism. Somebody called God has made the system in such a way that all you have to do is to put the food in your mouth. The rest, he takes charge of it. He will separate the bad ones from the good ones. Use the bad ones to build you up, and use the good ones to build you up. And the bad ones, what does he do? He gets rid of it from your body so that you always be healthy. This, you don't see this as a miracle? Then what other miracle do you want to see? The sun always appears every morning from the east, and gradually it will go, gradually, until finally it sets in the west every day. When it appears in the east, you wake up. When it sets in the west, you go back to sleep. So you don't see a miracle in this. What other miracle do you want to see? Huh? When you are sick and you are taken to the hospital, and they say, oh, you need to be intubated, you need oxygen. They intubate you and they put oxygen mask on your mouth, then you'll be breathing all this oxygen. And for every little bit of oxygen you breathe, big money, right? You have to pay big money. Now look at you sitting here. The oxygen is free. The Lord has supplied the oxygen free of charge. You don't have to pay no money for it. You don't see this miracle. You don't see this mercy. What else do you need to believe that there is God? What else? Unless you win the lottery before you believe there is God. The miracle is all around us. Always. The hands of God is all around us. All we have to do is to open our eyes properly. And our eyes can only be opened from our heart. Once we open our eyes from our heart, then we will see God. All right. Thank you very much. Our time is up. Antaram Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Radha Damodara ki jai. Srila Krishna Pada ki jai. Haribo.